Welcome to our hybrid meeting. Participants in the room, please do not join the meeting in Zoom. Virtual participants, if you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. Members attending virtually, if you are able, please activate your video for purposes of quorum and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. Staff, if you are able, please activate your video when you are speaking. Members of the committee, when you wish to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote, please raise your hand or raise your hand virtually. Those in the room will have their microphones on at all times, so just be aware of that. But we'll recognize you to speak at the appropriate moments. Those attending virtually can unmute themselves when recognized. When you're finished, all should mute themselves. Members of the public who have registered to speak, those appearing virtually, the name you entered in Zoom must match the name you entered in registration. You'll remain muted until called upon. If you are here in person, when you are called to speak, please approach the desk over there and you'll be recognized. For all registrants, the clerk will tell you when your time is up. After all public speakers, a member of the body may ask you a question. If you need to share documentation with the committee, please send it to the email listed on today's agenda. Thanks. Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Verbeek. So this meeting is governed by Robert's Rules of Order. All speakers wishing to address the committee regarding an agenda item must first complete a registration form and submit it to the city clerk designee. Speakers may speak to the committee only after they're called by the chair. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. After speaking to the committee, please take your seat in the gallery. The public is not allowed to address or respond to speakers or committee members unless they've been recognized by the chair of the committee. Mr. Verbeek, do we have any notified absences?
Dr. Reese is a notified absence tonight.
All right. I call this meeting of the LRC to order at 5:36 p.m. Will you please call the roll?
Alderman Yazzie?
Present.
Alderman Yazzie's aye. Present. Alderman Revere?
Here.
Alderman Revere is present. Mr. Bauerschuk?
Here.
Mr. Bauerschuk is here. Mr. Farley? Mr. Farley is not here. Mr. Donnelly?
Present.
Mr. Donnelly is present. Ms. Westra?
Here.
Ms. Westra is here. And Alder Knox?
Here.
Alder Knox is here. Chair, we have quorum.
Excellent. Thank you. Our first item is the approval of minutes from our meeting on June 21st. Committee, what's your pleasure?
Move approval.
A motion to approve from Ms. Westra. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Bruchak. Any discussion or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Those minutes are approved. Next, minutes from, this is the Operator's License Subcommittee on June 28th. Committee, what's your pleasure?
Move approval.
Your motion to approve from Ms. Westra. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alder Revere. Any discussion? Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. That is approved. Mr. Verbeek, are there any registrants for general public comment?
I see one person registered in general public comment, but I think they meant to register in their item because their register is not wishing to speak. So I don't think they're here for that.
Sounds good. All right. Next up, disclosures and recusals. Members of the body should make any required disclosures or recusals under the city's ethics code at this time. Are there any such disclosures or recusals? It appears that there are not. Next up is the presentation of the consent agenda. At this time, the consent agenda will be moved with a recommended action to grant with conditions, or in a couple of cases today, refer to next month's meeting. If any items have registrants opposed wishing to speak, if members of the committee would like to separate them for discussion and debate purposes, if they require ordinance changes, or if they are operator's license applications, with the exception of ones that already went to the operator's license subcommittee, those will be separated from the consent agenda. Mr. Verbeek, will you please present the proposed consent agenda?
Excuse me. The proposed consent agenda for ALRC meeting July 19th, 2023. Recommend the council to grant operator license, item number 2, temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit, items 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Change of agents, item 10 and 11. Business name change, item 12. Change of premises, items 16 and 17. Public hearing, new licenses, 21, 25, 26, 28, and 29. These are all establishments that missed the renewal deadline, and none of them had conditions on the previous license. And then refer to future meeting, the ALRC, item 13, entity reorganization, and 14, change of license premise.
Excellent, thank you. Committee, which of those items, if any, would you like separated from the consent agenda? If there are no requests for separations, a motion would be in order.
Move approval.
Your motion to approve from Ms. Westra. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Bruchak. I just saw something flash up on the
Someone's
screen.
maybe raising their hand for a second.
Okay. Well, if it's not still raised, Alder Knox?
Yeah, actually, just for information purposes, I wanted item number, is it 5? Did you include 5 in it? You did
Yes.
include 5.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, we're good.
So are you saying that you'd like item 5 separated?
Yes.
Okay. Item 5 is separated. Are there any other items that people would like separated?
No. Not me.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries with the exception of item 5. The proposed action has been taken for all of those items. So for everyone who's here in attendance, Mr. Verbeek is going to read that list out again. If your item is on that list and you have nothing else on the agenda, you're done for the night and you can go home. Mr. Verbeek.
All right, the past consent agenda for ALRC meeting July 19th, 2023. Recommend the council to grant item number 2, operator license, Randy Brown. Item number 3, temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit, Marquette Neighborhood Association, event location Orton Park, 1103 Spate Street. Event dates August 25th from 5 to 9, August 26th from 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., and August 27th from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. That is the Orton Park Festival. Item number 4, temporary Class B retail license, concurrent with street use permit, Mass and Festivals, Inc., event location, Capitol Square, event dates, November 12th from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. The event is Madison Marathon. Item number 6, temporary Class B retailer license, concurrent with street use permit, Shanks Corners Art Society, Inc., event location 1900 block of Atwood Avenue, event dates, August 18th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. and August 19th from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. That is the Shanks Corners Block Party. And number 7, temporary Class B retail license concurrent with street use permit, the Ecken Park Neighborhood Association. The event location is 700 block of Meyer Avenue. Event date is August 19th from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's the Ecken Park Festival. Number 8, temporary Class B retail license concurrent with street use permit, the Hellenic Orthodox Community Assumption Greek Orthodox Church. Event location, first block of 7th Street. Events dates September 9th from noon to 7 p.m. and September 10th from noon to 6 p.m. That is for Greek Fest 2023. Number 9, temporary Class B retail license concurrent with street use permit, Jazz at 5 Inc., event location 100 State Street. Event dates are August 9th, 16th, 23rd, 30th, and September 6th. The event is Jazz at 5 Summer Series. Number 10, change of agent, Quick Trip Inc. 11, change of agent, Servant 33 LLC. Number 12, business name change, Tea Cider LLC. Current DBA, Maca Tea House Gallery. New DBA, Tea Cider. 16, change of premises, Ultimate Mart LLC. 17, change of premises, Riley's/Badger Liquor LLC. Number 21, public hearing new license, Das Mesh 11 LLC at DBA Maharaja Grocery at 1701 Thier Road. Class A beer, Class A liquor. 25, public hearing new license, Thai Basil LLC, DBA Thai Basil, 3519 University Avenue, Class B combination liquor and beer. Number 26, public hearing new license, Hamburger Ranch LLC, DBA Draper Brothers Chop House at 101 North Hamilton Street, Class B combination liquor and beer. Number 28, public hearing new license, El Rancho Mexican Grill LLC, DBA El Rancho Mexican Grill at 819 South Park Street, Class B beer. Number 29, public hearing new license, Mod Superfast Pizza Wisconsin LLC, DBA Mod Pizza at 7015 Sligo Drive at Class B beer, Class C wine. And refer to a future meeting of the ALRC, item number 13, entity reorganization, Servant 33 LLC, and 14, change of license premises, 2116 AWA LLC. And Chair, if we could have the Thai interpreter and Spanish interpreter let those two appropriate licenses know that they're on the consent agenda.
Excellent. Thank you very much. May we have the Thai interpreter, Sully, please let which item is it?
Thai Basil.
Thai Basil folks know that their item is done and they're good for the night.
โอเคสวัสดีค่ะชื่อสิริวัลย์นะจะช่วยแปลภาษาให้แล้วก็อยากจะบอกให้รู้ว่าร้านอาหารไทยเบโซก็สำเร็จแล้วนะแล้วก็แค่นี้นะก็ไม่มีอะไรจะถามหรือว่าจะทำต่อแล้วค่ะสเต็ปแล้วค่ะ
Could you also tell them that their food is delicious?
แล้วก็อยากจะบอกให้รู้ว่าอาหารไทยที่ร้านมีนะอร่อยมากเลยนะคะ
Thank you. And what is the other?
El Rancho Mexican Grill. So if we have Julio, let them know.
Julio?
Sí, el señor José Torres, no sé si está aquí, el representante del Rancho Mexican Grill. La solicitud ha sido aprobada para que luego el Consejo del Común la firme definitivamente. Entonces ya está terminada, no tiene más que participar en esta noche. Ha sido aprobada su solicitud.
Thank you. Do we need either of them for additional items?
We do not need the Thai interpreter. We do still need a Spanish interpreter.
Okay, Sully, you can take off. Julio, your next thing will be up shortly.
Yep, thank you.
All right. So, moving right along, let us first hit the two items on the agenda that do require interpreters. So that will first be item 23, a new license application for La Playa Colombiana at 3579 East Wash. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
Sí, Gineth, no sé si está presente. Se va a hablar ahora del caso de la pollera.
Perfecto, gracias.
Do you need to swear Julio in?
Yeah, Julio, if I can have you raise your right hand, do you affirm to accurately interpret English to Spanish and Spanish to English?
I do.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. So who's the person for this?
Yeneth.
Yeneth, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed business?
Entonces, Gineth, si quiere presentarse y hablarnos un poco sobre el negocio que va a tener.
Pues bueno, mi nombre es Gina Herrera, soy la representante del restaurante La Pollera Colombiana. La idea es poder tener esta licencia para hacer ciertos tragos, como el mojito, la margarita, o la sangría, como para poder complementar un poco más nuestro menú.
So my name is Gineth and I'm the owner of La Pollera Colombiana, and the idea is to have this license to complement the menu with drinks like mojitos and margaritas.
Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Burshak.
And so you already have a Class B beer license, is that correct?
Ya tiene una licencia de clase B, ¿verdad?
Sí, de cerveza.
Yes, a beer.
That's all my questions.
That was easy. Committee, what other questions do you have for the applicant? Assistant City Attorney McReynolds.
Hey, I know that you were here before asking about an entertainment license, and it looks like on your application for this license, you are asking again for a DJs twice a month. Is that correct?
Ajá. Recuerdo que estuvo aquí ya en otra ocasión y que estaba solicitando una licencia de entretenimiento con el objetivo de tener un DJ en vivo en el restaurante 2 viernes al mes.
Sí.
Yes.
Assistant City Attorney McReynolds, do you have additional follow-up questions?
No, I guess this might be a question more for Steve, but I think that it seemed like this committee denied that previously. And it seems like this is just another asking for the same thing in a different way, unless I'm misunderstanding.
Perhaps we can dig into that. Ms. Westra, and then Alder Verveer. Ms. Westra.
So my question is for the city attorney or for the city clerk. What falls under requiring an entertainment license? I know karaoke, we don't need an entertainment license, correct? But for a DJ, do you need an entertainment license? So would there need to be a secondary license for that?
I think we should let the interpreter interpret that first.
Yeah. Entonces, Gineth están preguntándose cuáles son los requisitos qué tipo de entretenimiento necesita una licencia de entretenimiento, y la señora Westra dice que para karaoke no hace falta, pero que para el DJ sí. Entonces le está preguntando al abogado de la ciudad que si está en lo correcto.
Okay. Assistant City Attorney Brist.
I believe that's correct. I believe that a DJ does require a license.
Sí, el abogado confirma que para tener un DJ es necesario una licencia de entretenimiento.
Ms. Westra, do you have additional questions?
No, just so that there is the understanding that approving the liquor license doesn't give you the ability to have any type of DJ music.
Sí, simplemente me gustaría clarificar que la aprobación de la licencia de alcohol no da ningún tipo de permiso para tener música de DJ.
Sí, eso es totalmente diferente.
Yes, I know that's completely different.
Mr. Burshak?
Alder Revere, I think, had his hand up first.
You're jumping in.
But I was going to ask the applicant whether you told Mr. Verbeek, the deputy city clerk, at some point in the recent past that you only wanted to do karaoke. Is that correct?
Sí, Gineth, están preguntando que si en algún momento en el pasado usted le preguntó al abogado de la ciudad o la pregunta era que únicamente tenía la intención de tener karaoke.
No entiendo que viene mucho la pregunta, pero bueno, cuando yo explique por mi licencia,
Si quiere le aclaro que simplemente están preguntándose si una vez en algún momento tuvo una conversación con el abogado de la ciudad y en esa conversación únicamente estaba solicitando la licencia o permiso para tener karaoke.
No, por eso te digo, o sea, pues no sé qué tenga que ver con la licencia de alcohol o del karaoke, pero cuando yo apliqué por la licencia, apliqué porque quería tener, como ellos saben, un DJ los viernes, cada 2 veces al mes, la cual pues fue negada o algunos inconvenientes para poder obtenerlo, entonces opté por tener solamente karaoke, que es lo que no se necesita obtener la licencia. Entonces, en este momento estamos haciendo es karaoke.
Ok, entonces ahora únicamente está solicitando la licencia para karaoke.
Pero es que para karaoke no se necesita licencia, yo estoy aplicando por una licencia de alcohol.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to clarify the concept. The applicant is saying that since it was becoming hard to like get the entertainment license, she was thinking of just having the karaoke one, and she knows that she doesn't need a license for karaoke. And I'm just clarifying like how it's connected with the alcohol. Entonces, Ginette, únicamente es saber, creo que lo que necesitan saber es si está solicitando la licencia de entretenimiento para tener el DJ 2 veces a la semana, como hizo en la ocasión anterior.
Sí, pues yo apliqué para tener la licencia, pero como te digo, no me la dieron así para para el horario que yo estaba aplicando.
Okay. Yes, I applied for the entertainment license, but it was not given to me for the times that I was asking for. And sorry to intervene. I've been in all these conversations, so I think Alder Verbeer probably can provide context for all this.
Alder Verbeer.
Thank you, Chair Donnelly. My questions have mostly been asked and answered, but I will continue with the same line of questioning with the applicant then. So first, just to clarify what the committee formally recommended to the city council, and then what the city council's action was as it relates to your entertainment license. So we did grant your entertainment license, but as you say, with the restricted hours. And then you appeared at the city council meeting asking for, I'll just say a license without the restricted hours. The city council referred your entertainment license then back to this committee, and you were on our agenda at our last meeting. And we what we call placed on file or ended your application because, as was just stated, the deputy city clerk shared that you were no longer interested in pursuing the license and were only pursuing karaoke entertainment at this time. So then the city council at our last meeting indeed went along with this committee's recommendation and ended your entertainment license. Okay. Why don't I pause there so the interpreter can...
Yeah, let me try to clarify. Yeah. Entonces, Ginette, lo que está explicando el concejal Verbeer es básicamente el proceso de cómo en un principio estuvo aquí en este comité de alcohol y se le dio la licencia de entretenimiento con restricciones, que era que no podía estar más allá de las 10 de la noche, era una restricción de tiempo. Entonces, después, cuando eso se presentó ante el Consejo del Común, usted se presentó de nuevo para solicitar las horas completas que estaba solicitando hasta más entrada la madrugada, y después el caso fue referido de vuelta del Consejo del Común aquí al Comité de Alcohol. Pero en la última reunión el caso fue archivado porque, según el secretario de la ciudad, ahora únicamente estaba solicitando karaoke. Entonces se archivó esa solicitud de licencia de entretenimiento.
Sí, o sea, voy a que, como lo queríamos hacer 2 viernes al mes en cierto horario, y no fue posible en el horario, nosotros decidimos entonces no seguir con la con la licencia. Entonces, por eso digo que no procedió. Lo que no entiendo es como que si tiene que ver con la licencia que estoy aplicando ahorita o no entiendo por qué.
La licencia, dice, la licencia de alcohol.
Dígame.
¿Está hablando de la licencia de alcohol?
Claro que yo estoy aplicando por
Okay.
una licencia de alcohol, o sea,
Okay.
yo no estoy aplicando
Okay.
por la licencia de entertainment.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not asking anymore for the entertainment license. I'm that the thing that we wanted to do to Friday this month. So now I'm just asking for this alcohol license for the drinks that se refiere a las bebidas que mencionó antes, ¿no? Mojito, margarita y ¿cuál era la tercera?
Sangría.
Sangria. Yeah, so I'm just asking for the alcohol license now to be allowed to serve drinks like mojito, margarita, and sangria.
Thank you. Yes, I understand that. So at the risk of being overly repetitive, I just want to once again state that DJs would not be permitted until a separate entertainment license is granted, even with a full alcohol license. And from my perspective, I don't think you should feel discouraged about reapplying for an entertainment license if you really are interested in entertainment beyond karaoke. But you would.
Se ha desconectado el concejal Verbier, parece.
Lose mic.
I think he disappeared. I think he has disappeared from the connection. I'm going to interpret until this momento. Sí, perdón, Ginés, creo que el concejal parece que ha perdido la conexión. Le voy a traducir interpretar lo que ha dicho hasta el momento. Eso, que simplemente por clarificar y sin ánimo de ser redundante, que eso, que no se va a permitir el tener el DJ, pero que tampoco se desanime para en un momento futuro, si así lo desea, solicitar de nuevo esa licencia de entretenimiento.
Sí, sí, correcto. Por eso pues decidimos esperar un tiempo, igual ver cómo van los días con karaoke, pues también por demostrar pues a la ciudad de que no va a haber ningún inconveniente, que pues la gente puede, digamos, adaptarse a este estilo de venir y entretenerse un rato sin tener problemas o nada, porque pues yo sé y entendí que el área donde estamos es como un área un poco más de zona roja.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I understand what Alder Verbier was saying. So that's why we want to maybe in the future, once we have proof that there are not going to be any issues, just stay with this karaoke. And once the city can be, I understand that it's a difficult area. It's a red area. So we want to prove that there are not going to be any issues and maybe in the future apply for the entertainment license again.
Excellent. Committee, are there any further questions for the applicant? Mr. Verbeek, are there any other registrants for this item?
There are not.
Committee, what is your pleasure?
I'd like to move approval.
Your motion from Ms. Westra to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Second from Mr. Bruchak. Discussion? Mr. Bruchak, then Alder Verveer.
Yeah, I was wanted to remind the applicant and the committee that I was supportive of the original entertainment license application with the times that the applicant asked for, and I think to reiterate what Alder Verveer said, I hope the applicant doesn't feel discouraged to ask for that again in the future. However, it might be prudent today to strike that part of the application requesting the DJ, so there's no confusion in the future.
That is a very good point. Yeneth, would you like Mr. Verbeek to amend your application to remove the part about having DJs?
Mm-hmm. Sí, lo que estaba comentando que en la línea de lo que decía el concejal Verbier, que no se desanime para en un futuro solicitar la la licencia de entretenimiento y que la apoyó con los horarios que había en su momento, así que no se desanime para hacerlo. Y está el personal de la ciudad, Berwick, le están preguntando si está bien, porque todavía su solicitud todavía tiene escrito lo del DJ. Si está bien con usted enmendar su solicitud para eliminar esa solicitud de entretenimiento con DJ para que no aparezca ahí en esta solicitud.
¿Cómo así? No entiendo. O sea, ¿dónde está
Sí,
apareciendo?
eliminar, simplemente eliminar el lenguaje en el que usted estaba solicitando el DJ, que todavía aparece en la solicitud. Le están
Pero
pidiendo
esta solicitud en del alcohol.
Yo creo únicamente que como todavía... Let me just clarify. So basically, the application from the applicant still mentions the DJ, so you want to get that language out of that application, so there is no confusion in the future, right?
Exactly right.
Sí. Entonces eso, lo que están pidiendo únicamente es eliminar el lenguaje en su solicitud, eliminar las partes en las que está hablando del DJ, para que en el futuro no haya confusión sobre lo que implica o no implica el permiso de alcohol o la licencia de alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I agree.
Good, Jim. Excellent. Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. First, to apologize for the obvious technical issues I was having. I'm very sorry for the interruption and would be with all of those of you that are in person in the City County building, but for the fact that I always have a Zoom meeting right before our meetings these days. So anyway, with that said, and at the risk of duplicating a question that might have been asked and answered by the applicant when I was offline for a couple minutes, has the applicant shared yet whether or not she had a chance to speak with the Madison Police Department and the alder of the district about this application?
Mm-hmm.
No one asked that.
No.
I'm sorry, Chair.
That question has not been asked, so
Okay,
feel free.
thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Entonces, Ginette, el concejal tiene simplemente una pregunta que es simplemente para saber si ha tenido la oportunidad de hablar con la policía y con el concejal de su distrito.
Con la policía sí me he podido comunicar, con la concejal la verdad. Nunca me he podido comunicar, he dejado mensaje, he llamado, he ido hasta la oficina a pedir el teléfono de ella, pero la verdad no. He dejado mensajes y nunca me han devuelto tampoco la llamada.
Yeah, I have been able to talk to MPD, but with the alder of my district, I have been trying to contact her, left messages asking. I have been there in person asking for her personal phone, but I have been unable to contact her, to communicate with her.
Thank you. Thank you very much for trying to do that. And can you share how your conversation with the police, either captain or lieutenant, went?
Gracias por intentar comunicarse con la concejal. ¿Qué es lo que nos puede explicar un poco cómo fue la conversación con la policía, ya sea con el capitán o el teniente con quien habló?
Sí, fue alrededor de hace una semana atrás y pues le dejé saber que estábamos queriendo aplicar por la licencia de alcohol. Me preguntó que si ya teníamos una licencia anterior y me preguntó qué horarios íbamos a manejar y me dijo que no, que para él no había ningún inconveniente con la licencia.
Yeah, I was able to talk to them like a week ago approximately, and I explained the alcohol license that I was asking for. They asked me if we had any previous license. I explained to him the hours that we were planning to work, and they told me that that was no issue for them. They have no problems with that.
Wonderful. I'm not surprised. So if I could, Chair, just revisit the entertainment license issue one more time. The reason why, and I'm speaking only for myself, but the reason why I supported the restrictive hours on the license originally was because we did not have information from the Madison Police Department or your city council member. And in addition, the application was incomplete in terms of some questions not being answered. So since you've already had the conversation with the police department, I do think that it is appropriate, if you do wish to have DJs, to share that interest with the police department and try again to reach your city council member and then reapply for the entertainment license again if you wish to have entertainment beyond the karaoke. So I just wanted to say one more time that was the reason why we were leaning toward the restrictive hours, not to mention the fact that a nightclub not far from you had just had a homicide as well, a matter of days before our meeting. So I think that also caused some of us a little pause.
Sí, simplemente al concejal Berbier le gustaría simplemente enfatizar que él en su momento apoyó las horas restringidas de la licencia de entretenimiento que estaba solicitando y la razón principal era que no había información sobre de la policía acerca de la licencia y tampoco había habido una comunicación con la concejal. Además de eso, la solicitud estaba incompleta, le faltaban algunas respuestas a algunas de las preguntas que había y lo que le recomendaría es que comparta con la policía la intención de tener un DJ y también con la concejal y que vuelva a solicitar la licencia si eso es lo que quieren, más allá de tener las noches con karaoke. Y también recordar que también seguramente pesó en esta decisión el hecho de que hay un club nocturno cerca de donde está su negocio y los pocos días antes de la reunión había habido un homicidio, así que eso seguramente también pesó en el cuidado a la hora de revisar su solicitud.
Sí, claro, yo entiendo, yo sé que todo lo hacen pues sobre todo por la seguridad de la ciudad y de las personas que puedan venir y pues como les digo, más que nada es un restaurante muy familiar. En ese entonces, pues la verdad fueron varios factores, entre esos que según la información que tuve fue que la alcaldesa o la que se encarga de este área creo que no estaba o la habían cambiado o es una persona nueva, entonces en ese momento fue cuando yo estaba llamando para pues dejarle saber que estamos aplicando, que hemos pasado para el comité y lo mismo el comandante de policía o el encargado de la policía tampoco estaba de vacaciones, está otra persona el cual estaba reemplazando y pues la verdad no sé qué sucedió porque no habrían hecho el aporte ellos y pues lo que también fue era que me preguntaban por lo de la vecindad y pues como les dije en la reunión, pues en este área no hay vecindad, entonces tampoco iba a tener como una aprobación por ese lado porque no la hay. Entonces creo que fueron varios factores, pero sí, definitivamente tenemos pensado volver a aplicar, ya siendo un poco, digamos, más cuidadosos de que todos, por favor, pues den el visto o den el comentario de qué piensa cada una de las partes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely understand that it's the intention of this committee to protect the safety of the citizens and of the city as a whole. And I just want to emphasize that we are a family restaurant. And I remember that it was hard to get a hold of the elder at that time because it has just been changed. And the same with the captain of with the police that I believe he was on holidays. And I remember that we also talked about the neighborhood, but there is really no neighborhood in this area. There is no houses. So yes, we are going to be like reapplying in the future and we are going to be more careful with the application just for everybody to be able to provide their comments and weigh the application.
That sounds terrific. And I'll remind your Alder Latimer Burris that you wish to introduce yourself and have a conversation. I'll also mention that I had a nice conversation with your landlord, John Skillroot, recently. And as I'm sure you're well aware, he thinks the world of you, that is very highly of you, and has absolutely no concerns whatsoever granting you both a full alcohol license and an entertainment license.
Mm-hmm. Sí,
so, I'm sorry, I was just going to say so I'll leave it at that. And I'm again, because I lost connection. Chair, is there a motion before us?
There is.
I'm happy to move to grant. Okay, thank you. You already have a motion.
Let me just translate that. Sí, muchas gracias por sus palabras, Ginette, y simplemente le voy a hablar con la concejal de su distrito, la concejal Barres, para asegurarme de que conecten las dos y se puedan presentar. Y también me gustaría decirle que he tenido conversaciones con su arrendador del local y no tiene más que palabras positivas hacia usted. Así que sí, le animamos a que siga adelante y ahora está preguntando si hay una moción porque se desconectó.
Ok.
All right.
Sí, agradecería mucho poder tener la conexión con ella, sería más fácil para poder hacer muchos trámites o pues también estar más al tanto de lo que pasa pues acá en el área y pues podernos familiarizar un poco más con el sistema aquí de Madison, ya que pues la verdad también nosotros somos nuevos en esta ciudad.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would be very grateful if you could connect me with the elders, so I'm more familiar with what happens in the area and also with the whole process, because we are also new to the city, so we still need to learn.
Excellent. Committee, any further discussion? Hearing none, there's a motion before you to grant. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 23 is granted. Congratulations, Yuneth, and please have a good night.
Entonces, Ginette, se aprobó la solicitud para la licencia de alcohol, así que enhorabuena.
23, not 63.
Y que tenga una buena noche.
Igualmente, muchísimas gracias. Buenas noches.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good night to you all.
All right, and good night, Julio.
Yeah, thank you.
Next up is item 27, new license application for Yako Sushi House at 515 Cottage Grove Road. Jim, do you have an interpreter to swear in?
We do, Bowen. You can also send Adriana home as well.
Oh.
We had 2 Spanish interpreters.
Oh, okay. Adriana, you may also go home. We don't need you any further.
You're muted currently, Adriana.
Sorry. Isn't there another Spanish item in the agenda?
It was on the consent agenda. We passed it without needing to talk
sorry.
to you.
I'm sorry. I appreciate it.
No,
don't be sorry. It's great.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
All right, Bowen, if I can have you raise your right hand if you affirm that you'll accurately interpret Mandarin to English and English to Mandarin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so item 27, Yako Sushi House. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes, we have 3 registrants for this item. Zaululam, Winnie Lee, and Ryan Ramig, which I think might be for the wrong item.
So is either of those the agent?
Yes, Winnie is the registered agent.
All right, let's start with Winnie then. Winnie, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about this proposed business?
Winnie's in person?
In person, excellent.
哦，
Go ahead, Bowen.
你可以先介绍一下你自己，还有你的餐厅吗？
Okay. I can speak a little bit English actually. So hi guys, I'm Winnie Lei. I'm the manager of the Yako Sushi House, and it's owned by my husband Zhao Lu Lam. And we are trying to do our best to provide the best service as like a family style sushi house right here in the Madison. And we had a lot of support and love from our neighborhood, and we are kind of like very glad to be here with you guys. Thank you.
Excellent. So it is generally our practice that if somebody requests an interpreter, that we make sure they use the interpreter. You are welcome to go either way. And I certainly have no trouble understanding you. If you want, I guess you have 3 options. One is not have an interpreter. One is have the interpreter translate English to Mandarin for you, but you speak to us in English because that doesn't seem to be a problem. And the other would be to use the interpreter all the way. Which of those 3 do you want to do?
I actually registered for an interpreter for my husband because his English is not good, but not for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about
wonderful. Oh, don't be sorry. That's wonderful. Excellent. Committee, what questions do you have? Okay.
One question for
Mr. Bruchak.
Thanks for coming. So how long have you been in the food and beverage business?
We open right after New Year, so we open at January 3rd.
Okay.
So far it's our 7th month right here.
Is your first restaurant?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Why don't we call up the next registrant?
Well, Jalulam? Yeah.
And you can stay up there if you'd like, Winnie, since you're together.
Hi, my name is Lu. Yeah.
Okay. So can you please tell us a bit about the business you're proposing?
I need.
Oh.
Yeah, I.
Am I needed right now?
Yep.
Yes.
OK，你可以跟他们介绍一下自己的这个餐厅吗？
我餐厅，我餐厅是我第一家餐厅，然后我们是主打寿司卷，然后还有一些厨房头台，然后未来我们想去开日本清酒跟那个罐装那个啤酒。然后这是我第一家寿司店，所以说我比较就是说我们希望就把它给做好，就是说就这样。
This is my first restaurant, and I really want to make it into a really good one. And we're now serving sushi and other appetizers. And in the future, we're looking forward to serve Japanese sake and beer, bottled beer. That would be all. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Verbeek, then Mr. Bruchak.
I just want to make the applicant aware that if you wanted to, sake is considered a wine by the state of Wisconsin. So if rather than getting the full alcohol license, if you wanted just the B beer, C wine license, you could still sell beer and wine. It's a $200 a year license versus a $600 a year license. So if you only wanted to serve those two things, you can do that on that cheaper license. But if you wanted something for like harder liquor that's not sake and beer, then you can still go for the full license like you applied for.
他们刚刚说，就是如果是日本清酒，在威斯康星，它是像红酒那样子的一类酒。然后，如果你只是想要清酒和啤酒的话，其实可以申，就是不是全部的那个牌照，就是可以200刀1年的那个，就不用600刀1年。还是说你们以后想有那种烈酒？
我们没有打算弄烈酒，我们只是单纯的弄，就是日本清酒跟那个罐装啤酒，我们没有打算弄那个烈酒。
No, we're not planning on having hard liquor in the future.
Okay. If you wanted to amend your application on the record and only pursue the Class B beer, Class C wine license, you can certainly do that as you're dropping down to a lower one rather than asking for something higher.
那你们是想改成就是200刀1年的那个一半的那种酒牌吗？
是的，我们是的，对 ，Yeah.
Yes, we want to change it to the half one for just wine and beer.
Excellent. Mr. Bruchak.
Jim answered my question and more. So I'm
wonderful. Excellent. Committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? Assistant City Attorney McReynolds.
Hi. Is the sole owner of the, I guess, is it an LLC? Let me see. Of the corporation, is the sole owner Zalulam?
Yes, is my name.
Are you the only officer of the LLC?
Yes.
Owen, just to be sure.
OK，你是唯一的拥有者吗？就是这家餐厅。
Yes.
Thank you.
And do you live in Orlando, Florida?
I'm before in Florida. In the work the sushi house, sushi chef. I in before I work the sushi chef is the 4 years. So in before in the sushi helper, I worked the 2 years. 1 or 2 years. I'm not remember. It's too long. Yeah.
But do you currently live in Madison?
你目前在麦迪逊居住吗？
Yes.
Excellent. Assistant City Attorney McReynolds, do you have additional questions?
My last question is for Jim. Since I'm just kind of learning this process, on the last, I think, page of the application, there's a checklist. Jim, do you check off if the background investigation form was completed, and do we require that form to be able to process an application?
Our office does do that. Sometimes it's checked, sometimes it's missed, but we do ensure that the background checks were submitted when they get here.
I see. So if it got to this point, then there has been a background check done, even if it's not checked on the application.
Yeah, let me double check though. It's the reason I bring all these applications across the street with me.
All right, thank you.
Yep, we have background checks for both the owner and the agent.
All right, then I have nothing further. Thank you.
Excellent. Committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? Right, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Verbeek, is there, you may have a seat in the gallery. Is there another registrant for this item?
I think Ryan Ramig is registered for this item. He does have his hand up in Zoom, and he is registered for this item. So
okay. So, Ryan, can you please introduce yourself? And you've got 3 minutes to say whatever you need to about this item.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Barely.
Okay. Better than last time. Sorry. I just registered in support of my next door neighbor, Yako Sushi House. They've been running a really great restaurant that complements. We're good neighbors to each other, and I totally support them getting their beer and wine license. That is all. Thank you.
Oh, Ryan, are you here for item 15?
Yes, I'm here for that as well.
I'd noticed the addresses. Excellent.
Yeah, I just figured I was going to be here tonight, so I just wanted to voice my support for Yako and Winnie and her husband.
Wonderful. Always good to hear when businesses are good neighbors to each other. Are there any other registrants for this item?
There are not.
Committee, any discussion? Motion would be in order.
I'd like to move approval.
A motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Bruchak. Any discussion?
So a comment. I guess, well, I just like to remind us that is the motion to grant the Class B beer, Class C wine?
That is a great question. Ms. Westra, is your motion to grant a Class B beer, Class C wine as amended?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you again. Any discussion?
The only thing I would like to say to the committee is if you guys haven't gotten a chance to stop in here, it's fantastic.
Excellent. All right. So if there's no further discussion, is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 27 is granted. Congratulations and thank you for joining us. All right. So next up, Assistant City Attorney Brist, I have a question.
Yes.
Are you here to work for the whole meeting, or are you here because of item 35? If
I'm
it's
here.
the latter, I'd like to jump ahead and save the rest of your evening, but
No, I'm here because it's my job.
wonderful. Okay. Thank you very much. So next up, we have item 5. Item 5 is a temporary Class B with street use permit for Great Taste of the Midwest. Mr. Verbeek, do we have a registrant here for this item?
We do. It is Ralph Keane. And he is in Zoom.
All right. Bowen, I see you have your hand up. If your question is, can you go home? The answer is yes.
Thank you.
Excellent. Have a great
Have a
night.
good night.
So, Ralph, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your application?
Yeah, hi. My name is Ralph Keohan, and I'm here just on behalf of the Madison Homebrewers for the Great Taste of the Midwest. I'm here to answer any questions if there are any about our event. The event is in the second Saturday of August in an Olin Park now for many years. We believe it's a very well-run event, and we feel very proud of our legacy and what we've been able to do with the event. And our goal is to have a safe and fun event. So if there are any specific questions that I can answer, I'm more than happy to try to do that.
Excellent. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Burshak.
So if I go to this event and taste a few of the offerings, they're made at your home or someone else's home? What's a home brewer?
Well, the beer that are available at this event are from breweries all across the Midwest. So this isn't actually any homebrew that is being tasted here. It's commercial beer from approximately 200 breweries throughout Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nebraska, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois.
Thank you.
Does that answer?
Yeah.
Excellent. Committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Verbeek, do we have any other registrants for this item?
We do not.
Committee, what is your pleasure?
Move approval.
Motion to approve from Ms. Westra. Is there a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Burshak. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Ralph? Are you still with us?
Yeah.
So I want to particularly commend you for one thing. I had the opportunity to attend your event a number of years ago, and with the number of people who are interested in attending, I'm sure that you feel a great deal of pressure to increase the size of the event. And the fact that you don't is demonstrative of the fact that you are committed to this being a safe and calm event, and that you're more concerned with doing it right than making the additional money you could make by selling more tickets. So thank you for having your priorities where they are.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
All right, next up is item 15, a change of licensed premises for Dive In to expand into the parking lot for Pride Fest. So do we have your registrant here for this item?
Yep, Ryan is back with us.
Excellent. Ryan, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposal?
Thank you for having me. My name is Ryan Ramig, owner of the Dive In on Cottage Road, right next to Yako Sushi House. This past last Saturday of June, we successfully threw a really nice Pride Fest for the community, and we were able to raise over $1,300 for a local LGBTQ organization called G-Safe. In this instance, we limited the alcohol to our licensed premises, which is the inside of our bar and our front patio. We had signs up that said no alcohol beyond this point. And we also invited the East Madison Police Department, and they attended. And it was a very, very great day. And I'm asking for that occasion that we be allowed to have plastic cups of beer and liquor in the parking lot for that day and those hours. So that would be the last Saturday of June. And we ran it from 12 to 6. We started off at noon, and at about 1 o'clock, we started with a kids musician, David Landau. It was very family friendly. And then it moved into having a DJ and drag queens and aerial performances. And it was very well received by the community. Madison, believe it or not, has kind of a gaping hole as far as needing a Pride Fest in the month of June. So we're looking to fill that hole. Yeah, that's all I got. I believe one of our neighbors sent Mr. Verbeek a letter in support of us. Thank you. That's all I have right now.
Excellent. Thank you, Ryan. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Ms. Westra.
So is this a request for the last Saturday in June of 2024?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So Mr. Verbeek, do we need to amend the license or the request since the current change of premises date is listed for 23? Are we able to do that this far in advance?
It doesn't. Oh, yeah, you're right. The application does say 2023. I don't know. That would be a question for the attorneys because the way it's noticed doesn't have a year on it, but the application does have a year on it.
Well, Assistant City Attorney Brist or McReynolds, can we have your advice, please?
Can I interject and explain why it came up that way?
Not quite yet. What we're figuring out is whether we're allowed to do this. And we'll get into that part next. Steve?
Thank you. Sorry.
I think I need to look at the ordinances, state statutes, to see if there's a limit, but because there's normally a license year for alcohol beverage licenses, and this would be in the next year. I don't know, does that apply in this situation?
I don't.
Verbeek?
Actually, this would be in the current license year because if it's the end of June, the license would expire June 30th. So if it's the last Saturday in June, it would still be this license year.
Okay, well, I don't know of anything that would limit it other than that. So I think you could apply right now for it.
Yeah, I was not worried about that part. We also regularly have people come in, May to apply for something in July or August. Is there any open meetings problem with this?
In terms of notice?
Well, given that within the text of the application, it's listed for 2023, but the what was noticed on the agenda was merely that this was happening, and given that 2023 would be in the past, I would think it would be clear that it would be a future date.
Well, that's an interesting question. That the agenda does not have any contradictory information on it, does it?
Correct.
I'm not an expert on open records and on open meetings and public records, but I think we can do that.
I feel confident in it as well. So unless somebody thinks that is a bad idea specifically, if they do, feel free to speak up. Otherwise, let's consider this matter closed.
The Alder Verveer has his hand up.
Alder Verveer?
Thank you, Chair. First, I do have a question of the applicant, and that is, did you say, Ryan, that you're only seeking a one-day expansion of your licensed premise to the parking lot the last Saturday in June? Because on your original application, which unfortunately, obviously, was after the deadline so that you could have the parking lot used for an expanded premise for this year's event, you had noted a 3-day request on your current application. So is it just, did you wish for the final weekend in June or just the final Saturday in June?
Ryan?
Thank you. Well, originally and ideally, I would like to expand the premises for any quote unquote special events that we deem. But it was explained to me that I cannot do that. I need to pick a specific date. Can somebody confirm that?
Well, what I was going to share with my colleagues on the committee after I asked you the question is to share with the committee, and I think at least the chair will remember this well, that there have been occasions in prior years and the past precedent where we do include the licensed premise to temporarily, indefinitely include some special events and parking lots. We do it for Atwood Summerfest, we've done for years, for the Willie Street Fair and formerly Fruit Fest when it was Plan B, now the IO Arcade Bar. I'm looking at their current license, and the IO Arcade Bar current premise states, quote, premises temporarily expanded into parking lot during Fruit Fest and Willie Street Fair with an outdoor capacity of 2,540. So, this is something that we have done for others in prior years, and I'm certainly comfortable doing that for you. I'll say parenthetically that some friends of mine attended your event this year and had a wonderful time and shared no concerns whatsoever with how you handled things. So with that past precedence, I'm comfortable making a motion that would give you, in essence, a temporary expanded premise on your license that would be automatically renewed as long as you wish, assuming that this committee and the Common Council grants that moving forward and doesn't amend that in future years. But it's what I was looking for is what the exact language would be. I'm comfortable saying final weekend in June.
Or could we say,
but I don't think we can, if I understood your question a moment ago, Ryan, I don't think we can say like unlimited number of events, as much as your neighbor, sent us a correspondence saying how you've really improved the neighborhood and, night and day difference between you and Joe Beck's. I don't think it can be open-ended and overly permissive.
Understood. Then in that case, I would like to request the expanded premises for quote unquote Pride Fest. And that would just, the way we planned it this year was we had it on Saturday with a rain date on Sunday.
Alder Verveer, feel free to make the motion when you're ready, as that will, I'm sure, give clarity to our discussion.
Okay. Well, why don't I propose this, and then I'll formally move that we amend the licensed premise so that the premises are temporarily expanded into the parking lot each final weekend in June for Pride Fest, and see if that's sufficient.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Bruchak. All right. Alder Verveer, would you like to say anything else regarding your motion?
No, I think I've said it all. Just curious if the applicant and legal counsel is comfortable with that, the way that the motion is worded. Ryan, do you have any concerns with that?
Yes, thank you very much for the help with that. And yes, totally, I totally support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me?
Does our council have any concerns with Alder Verveer's motion?
Not at this time, no.
Thank you.
Can I get the motion just repeated again? I'm sorry.
Jim, would you do that, or do you want me to rephrase it?
My understanding, what I got is the motion is to expand the premises into the parking lot the last weekend in June for Pride Fest.
Yeah, so it would be
In perpetuity.
The licensed premises would be temporarily expanded to include the parking lot the last weekend each June for Pride Fest event.
Okay. Yep, perfect.
Excellent. Ryan, I see you have your hand up. Do you have a question about that?
Oh, that's just, my hand was just stuck up. So.
Wonderful. Great. Committee, is there any further discussion of this item? Are there any other registrants?
Nope.
All right. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Congratulations, Ryan.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night. Next up is item 18, change of licensed conditions for hot lunch. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
We do. Michael Serve is registered. I see there's hot lunches in Zoom. I'm guessing it's the same person.
All right. Michael, can you please introduce yourself and tell us what you are asking for?
Can you hear me?
We can.
My name is Michael Serve. I'm the chef and owner of Hot Lunch on East Johnson Street. We were just more looking for just to extend our hours just a little bit from our original. We've been closed for a few months just due to some unfortunate events that have happened. So we're just trying to get back on track, and we figured that kind of extending the hours would kind of help us. We can make a little bit of extra money and then just make more food for everybody, and just be another staple in the neighborhood like just the same way we began.
What were the previous hours and what are the new hours you're proposing?
The previous hours were 9 to 8. And then the new hours that we are proposing would be 9 to 12. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday would be 9 to 1.
Excellent. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Ms. Westra?
Oh, I was talking to Abby, but
okay.
I have no questions. Sorry.
Not a problem. Alder Verveer.
Thank you. The question that I have is, did you have the opportunity to ask or share this request with the Tenny Lapham Neighborhood Association and or the Alder of the district, Alder Rummel? I ask that because my recollection is either the former Alder Patrick Heck or the Tenny Lapham Neighborhood Association, I thought, requested the restriction on your license previously.
Yes, we did. It was on Friday, June 16th. And then also there were emails as well.
Can you share what feedback was then?
We did not get any feedback.
So you I'm sorry, so you didn't attend a meeting
We did have a meeting, but nobody came, and then we did not get any feedback from anybody from the neighborhood in any negative way.
So you weren't actually on an agenda for the Tenny Lapham Neighborhood Association, a regular meeting of theirs, as you did originally when you first opened? Is that?
Yes, we did have like I previously mentioned, on Friday, June 16th, we did have a meeting scheduled and everything like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm not asking the question correctly, but you're talking about the notice on the orange sign where you had
No.
Oh.
Excuse me. Hi, my name is Troy Knight. I'm one of the owners here in Hopkins. We emailed the neighborhood association and everyone else required on Friday, June 16th. We did not receive any feedback, and then we had our information session on July 11th. So we didn't hear anything back after we emailed the neighborhood association or anyone, frankly. So we did email as required.
So Alder Verveer, so first to disclose to everyone, I am a member of the TLNA Council.
Yes, I know you are.
When this item came before us last year, we did not request any restriction on the hours. I don't remember the specific discussion, but I think the general feel was this is East Johnson. You're not going to hear noise from a restaurant over the cars.
Right. So where did that come from? I know you don't recall, Chair. Did Troy or Mike, do you remember why we added the conditions?
I don't believe there were any conditions added. My understanding was that any deviation from our hours as represented in our original application requires written. I guess we have to ask y'all in writing and must be approved. That was my understanding reading the city code. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe there were no conditions applied to our granting of the Class B liquor license. But my understanding was if we were to substantially deviate from how we originally represented our hours, it would require approval by this committee.
Actually, it does not. So you went above and beyond the Call of Duty and assumed or read too much into perhaps how strict we are. I speaking for myself, I'd say that's what the annual renewal process is for, where you could update questions on your application each year as part of the annual renewal process. But I just pulled up when I saw your application, I just assumed well, of course you're amending conditions here, but I just pulled up your license and as you say, there's absolutely no conditions on your license, which certainly makes
excellent.
Which makes sense. So I feel bad kind of wasting your time tonight.
Oh, no problem.
And your time making the application unless the deputy city clerk or the city attorneys in the meeting wish to correct me. I almost wish we could refund your $25 application fee. And
this is all very good news from our perspective.
Yeah. And obviously, I don't know that all of us are aware of, what happened, as I guess Mike referenced at the outset of his testimony. But obviously, I'm very sorry for what's happened to your Hot Lunch family and with Mike's illness and of course the loss of your beloved friend and partner.
I appreciate you saying that. I really do.
Because I certainly remember Roger in our meetings previously.
Yeah, he's So the best thing is saying is like we miss them too, you know. So, but we're just trying to keep our dream alive here and trying to do more, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to reopen, and Mike, I hope your health is getting back to normal.
It's slowly but surely. I got a long journey ahead, but you know, this is the place that I love, and you know, just to have the supports of the community and my team to be able to actually reopen tomorrow has been just phenomenal. You know, I just can't thank everybody enough.
Yeah, well, certainly, I think you have the community support, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I believe that the correct motion will be to place on file.
It's an interesting question.
Unless either Assistant City Attorney Briss or McReynolds have other advice. I think this application was wholly unnecessary.
I agree. If there aren't conditions on the original license, then there's no need to make a change.
And so would you agree, Steve, that the correct motion is to place on file?
That works.
So
I would so move, Chair.
I would have one concern about that, which is if we do that and at some point in the future, perhaps after some members have departed from the committee, if they come applying for a change of licensed premises, it might be considered to reflect poorly on them that if this was denied. Assistant City Attorney Brist, if we granted this, would that necessarily add conditions to the license that weren't there before?
Well, I think in effect you would be.
Okay.
So I think you're better to just drop the application.
Fair enough. Okay. Carry on. Alder
The
Verveer.
applicant withdraws, that would be a possibility, I suppose.
That
I was going to say, is there a procedure? I don't recall in the past procedurally an applicant being able to withdraw an application, being a motion at the.
I guess I would ask somebody else whether that was possible. But
yeah, I remember now in cases where that's happened, where they've like called the clerk's office to say they weren't going to pursue it, we put it on the consent agenda to place on file without prejudice.
Okay, well then that's what we should do.
Okay.
And because it's a moot issue, that's why I didn't add the without prejudice part, but I'm certainly fine with adding that phrase if folks prefer.
Up to you. Do you want to make a motion at this time, Alder Verveer?
So I'll move to place on file the application for change of conditions since there are no conditions.
Excellent. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Westra. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Michael, thank you for your diligence. I don't know if we've ever before had someone be that careful with their operations.
Well, we just want to make sure that we're doing things the right way, and this is my first restaurant, so I just wanted to make sure like we're not doing anything wrong, you know.
Excellent, and congratulations on reopening. I know the neighborhood will look forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next up is item 19. Item 19 is a license transfer for Suki's Veggie Burgers, moving from 502 State Street to 260 West Gilman. Mr. Verbeek, do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes, John McCune.
Excellent. John, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed move?
Sure thing. So we had gotten approved. I don't know if you're all familiar faces at this point. We'd gotten approved at our former location and decided to move prior to July 1st and us getting approved for, or not approved, but what's the right word?
Picking up the license?
Actually getting the license, right. So we moved and now it's a transfer solely because we did not a transfer that we have to appear for and get reapproved, solely because we didn't get the license at the old location. The business is the same. The procedures are the same. We're just now in a smaller space. It's actually right next door to where we were before. So.
Excellent. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? All right. Mr. Verbeek, are there any other? Alder Verveer.
Thank you. Welcome back, John. Out of curiosity, could you share why you are making the move? Is it simply because the 502 space was too large and you'll save on lease costs? Or?
We save a ton of money on lease. You're dead on, my friend. We had Supercharge in there subleasing from us.
Yes.
And then when they moved out, it was, it wasn't by choice that we were going to, do a full service bar. It was more out of necessity. And so, moving into this new space saved us the money on rent. It allows us to kind of only do what we're comfortable with as far as serving alcohol. So yeah, it's good all around, and we were lucky to have somebody move into our space to take over our old lease, so we could get out of there without any really lost rent.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that was a win-win. And,
yeah.
And then you understand that and we don't have that many actual transfer applications that come before us, but when we do, we always include the previous conditions.
Of course.
So you have no objection.
No objections
at this point. And you can always come back in the future if you wish to amend your conditions, which I remember you have on like the last agenda item applicant.
Yeah. Thank you for that note.
Okay. Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
I'll move to grant if there's no other registrants.
Okay, we have a motion to grant from Alder Verveer, second from Ms. Westra.
With the existing conditions continuing, of course.
Are there any other registrants, Jim?
There are not.
Okay, and you got that it was with existing conditions?
Yeah, the 3 conditions that are currently in there. Yeah.
Excellent. Committee, is there any discussion of Alder Verveer's motion? Hearing none, is there any dissent?
Who seconded that one?
Ms. Westra. Hearing no dissent, motion carries. Item 19 is granted. Congratulations, John.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Next up is item 20, a new license application for the 360 at 1 Dempsey Road. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
We do not.
Ms. Westra.
Is this the first time that this has been on our agenda?
It is not. I think it might be the 3rd. Yes, it's the 3rd time.
And have we heard anything from them at all?
We have not. It's a beauty.
So I'd like to move to place this on file. We've done due diligence in the clerk's office to reach out to them and make contact and see what's going on.
Yeah. I have not heard back.
All right.
I'd like to.
Carry on.
Oh, I see you pointing, but I'm seeing you from the side, so I got confused. I'd like to move to place this on file without prejudice.
Is there a second?
Yes, a second.
I second.
All right. Here a second from Alder Verveer. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 20 is placed on file without prejudice. Next up, item 22, new license application for Sunrise Gas at 1130 Willie Street. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes, Attorney Trachtenberg is here.
Excellent. Attorney Trachtenberg, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about this application?
Yes, my name is Ron Trachtenberg, and I'm the attorney for Sunrise Gas. As you're probably aware, the prior owner had some legal issues. Was convicted of several misdemeanors. He is retiring and he is leasing the real estate to Amanpree for Amanpree to operate his own business. Mr. Amanpree was appointed the liquor license agent under Mr. Mavi's tenure. We did attend a meeting of the Marquette Neighborhood Association, and we have a letter of support from them that was sent to the city clerk on July 18th. The body of it reads, the Marquette Neighborhood Association voted on July 17th, 2023 to support the Class A fermented malt beverage license sought by Sunrise Gas, LLC, Amanpree Dahanyu for the convenience store at 1130 Williamson Street. We asked that the LRC approve the license application. Other than operating within the law, we do not expect any change of operation of the gas station or convenience store.
Excellent. Thank you, Ron. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant's representative? Mr. Verbeek, are there any other registrants for this item?
There are not.
Committee, what's your pleasure?
I move approval.
Your motion to approve from Mr. Bruchak. Is there a second? Ms. Westra?
I'd like to second it, and then amend the motion so we can add the conditions from the previous license.
Mr. Bruchak, are you comfortable with that?
That's fine with me.
It is fine with him. Okay, so we have a motion to approve carrying forward the conditions from the previous license. Attorney Trachtenberg, do you have any concerns about carrying forward the conditions from the previous license at this location?
No objection, and that it was exactly that was represented to the Marquette Neighborhood Association.
Beautiful. Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just reviewing the existing conditions on the license. There are 5 of them. And although I would much prefer that we use the standard downtown conditions, I won't go there unless there's any interest in going down that road. But I will point out that condition number 5 would no longer be applicable. Condition 5 reads, quote, at the conclusion of the pending criminal case, there's a word missing here, but shall notify the clerk's office of the results of the criminal case and appear before the ALRC. So that obviously isn't applicable.
That is correct. As I said, Mr. Mavi was convicted of several misdemeanors. The felony charge was dismissed. Ms. Zillaby has a copy of the court's final judgment and order, and Mr. Mavi will not be an owner operator of the business. But thank you for pointing that out.
So, Mr. Bruchak and Ms. Westra, any concerns with striking condition 5?
No.
No.
Excellent. Thank you. Ms. Westra, do you have an additional question?
Nope. When Mike was bringing that up, I had just keyed in on the 5th condition and wanted to get that removed. So we're
wonderful. All good. Any further discussion? All right. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 22 is granted with conditions 1 through 4 from the previous license. Thanks for joining us, Ron. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, next up, item 24, is a new license for Camp Cantina at 1501 Monroe. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yep, Gabrielle is registered in here in front of us.
Excellent. Gabrielle, please introduce yourself and let us know what you're proposing.
Yes. My name is Gabriela Mendoza, and I am will be the manager of Camp Cantina, which will be located at 1501 Monroe Street, right across the street from Camp Randall. We are a authentic Mexican restaurant, and we're looking to offer a full bar, especially with having Camp Randall right across the street. We're really looking to do mainly like beer and cocktails to go with our food, like margaritas, mojitos. We plan to have like other drinks that just incorporate like tequila and stuff in them. So that is why we are looking to get our liquor license in that location.
Is that the first floor of the big building where the stadium bar used to be?
So it's actually the previous Hotel Red.
Oh,
so
okay,
right under, the bottom, what used to be previously the Wise.
Gotcha. It's like kitty corner across.
Yeah, exactly.
Brendel. Yes. Thank you for helping me place that. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Alder Verveer, then Ms. Westra. Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. The question I have is about the outdoor patio. Could you describe that in a little more detail? Obviously, I have your application in front of me, as do my colleagues. But is the capacity what Hotel Red previously had, and what hours of operation are you thinking for the outdoor patio? And lastly, do you plan outdoor amplification like for music?
Yeah, so we do plan to have music in the patio, but not live music, just typical restaurant music that just goes out to the patio. The hours will be the same as the restaurant. So the opening hours, they vary throughout the week, but the closing hours are Monday we're closed. So Tuesday through Thursday, we will be open from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then on Friday and Saturday, we will be closing at 10 p.m. And we will open earlier on Saturday and Sunday to do brunch. So we will be opening at like 9 a.m. We plan to have the patio at the same hours, especially with like game days. It is a fully closed out patio. So like there's a gate going all the way around, which will help us control the amount of people that will be coming in and out of the patio or that gather at the patio. We also plan to have have it fully staffed to just kind of control that crowd, mainly on game days that just kind of get a little bit more crazy out there. But yeah, we plan to have the same hours. And the capacity was determined by the Madison Fire. So it was listed outside for 83 people.
Thank you. And I see that the Vilas Neighborhood Association Council enthusiastically supports you. And obviously, if they had any conditions about the patio in terms of hours or amplification, they would have shared that with us, as they certainly haven't been bashful in the past to suggest conditions. The other just point on this I wanted to mention is it might be a good idea, if you haven't already, to check with the city zoning office about the current conditional use permit for the outdoor space. Have you or a member of your family, do you believe, had a chance to speak with the zoning staff about your new business, and specifically the outdoor food and drink?
We have not, but I can get on that immediately this week. So just to take care of it.
So once your license is granted, which I'm confident it will be, and before you issue it, as you probably are aware, you'll have to pass a number of city inspections, and one of them is zoning. And I think it might come up that the existing conditional use permit, there's a chance might have conditions on it. I'm not privy to that information myself right now to check for you, but just to be on the safe side, you might want to make sure that the existing conditional use for this address for outdoor food and drink doesn't have a closing time restriction on it or an outdoor amplification restriction on it. Both of those are quite common. And the way these so-called conditional use permits work under the zoning code is they run with the property, not with the business. So you would be, the beneficiary of this old permit that you don't need to apply for, but it might have conditions on it that you'll want to have modified, which you could do so through what's called a minor alteration process, where it's really simple. You just have to have the support of the alder of your district. That's Alder Evers, as you know, and that's all you'd probably have to do. Maybe he'd want you to go back to BNA, but if you could just check with the city zoning office, you could call them and they could look that up for you.
Yes, I can definitely do that. And I have spoken to Elder Evers, so I think he would most likely be on board because he has not had any issues so far. So I can definitely get on that.
Yeah, I'm sure like VNA, he's thrilled to have you in the neighborhood. Yes. And it'll be a great addition.
Yes, they've been great. We're very grateful.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
I'm glad Steve Brown Apartments decided that Mexican cuisine is wholly appropriate there.
Yes, we're so excited to bring our culture and our food to the neighborhood. So we're hoping everything goes great.
That sounds great. I was a little surprised when I read that wasn't their first choice.
Yeah.
But it's all worked out.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome and good luck.
Thank you.
Chair.
Good. Ms. Westra, do you still have a question? Okay. I have a question about the fence. Does the fenced-in area only open into the building, or are there gates to go from the outdoors into?
Yeah, so there's only one gate that opens, and it opens into the building. So it does not open out or anything. Yeah.
Excellent. That is very good.
Yes.
How on earth did you charm the Vilas Neighborhood Association into their unreserved approval?
Could have been the food we had for them the day that we had our meeting. So.
Wow.
Yes.
Now I'm going to have to come to this restaurant.
The truth comes out.
That's how you do it.
Yes.
I won't call it bribery.
So, are there any other registrants for this item?
There are not.
Committee, do you have a motion?
Move approval.
Your motion to approve, is there a second? Second for Mr. Bruchak. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Item 24 is granted. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us. Have a lovely evening.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Next up, item 30, new license application for Wandos at 406 North Francis.
Yes, Jay Wanzerski is registered and in Zoom.
All right. Can you please tell us what's going on?
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
My name is Jay Wanzerski. I am the current owner of Wandos. I have owned it for 29 years. I have purchased the building at 406 North Francis and on April 1st. So I am able to start taking over the building next door October 1st. So I have basically, it's a big weekend, homecoming on the 6th, 5th, and 6th. So I plan to take 4 or 5 days and just get it ready to open as far as POS system, inventory, coolers, and just getting it operational, and then run it as is till graduation. And then I will be back at the ALRC next year, and I plan on doing a major remodel, expanding the size of the bathrooms, and doing a basically like I kind of did with the 602 29 years ago, just make it, bring it more up to 2023, 24, with garage doors in the front and make it more airy and just making it more nice. So
I apologize for my confusion. Are you talking about expanding into the former ranch side space?
No, I'm just going to operate
the bar that is there now, when I take over, I have 4 days, like I said, to their lease is done at the end of September. So I have 4 days to get that bar ready for homecoming weekend, which is a big undertaking because, as you guys know, with the football season, homecoming is probably one of the biggest weekends. So I'm not going to change much of the current inside. It's just basically putting inventory, seeing what I have left. I assume I have to put new beer coolers because they'll probably gut the place. So I'm just going to make it operational that first week, and then after graduation next year, I will go in front of the ALRC, and I think you have kind of a set of plans with you guys where I just want to double the size of the current bathrooms for the following year, and then just doing an upgrade of flooring, walls, TVs, bar, everything, just to make it more serviceable. So.
Sure. So I think the question I'm asking is easier than what you think I'm asking. So as of, say, October of 2023, will you be running 2 establishments next door to each other? Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
No, I'm sorry.
Not a problem. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Alder Verveer.
Thank you. Hi, Jay.
Hello.
I have a question about, just like the last applicant, about your outdoor service in the future. Am I reading your application correctly that you do not plan at this time any outdoor service at all, be it in the outdoor fenced-in seating area that I remember was created when the smoking ban went into effect, or through a sidewalk cafe, roadway cafe option like you have currently at Wando's?
So I think my understanding with the streetery, I can actually add 2 tables in front of the red shed or in front of the new license, but I would have had to prepay for the whole year. So I think I only have about 4 or 5 weeks available. So I'm gonna let it go this year. But yes, next year I will see what room I have in that alleyway, because I want to put a garage door on the north side of the building going into the alley also, besides the front. So I'm trying to probably put 3 to 4 tables out in that alleyway. But in front, there's only 2 tables. And as you know, I was taking away 8 tables in the loading zone because of my meeting with streetery and traffic engineering. They said that they prefer that I did not have the roadway. So,
right.
But as far as right now, I will not have outside seating at the new location.
Do you plan to allow for, and would you like your licensed premise to allow your patrons to have alcohol in the fenced in your area closest to the parking garage?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that will be a smoking section or whatever. So, so you must have overlooked it on your application, both question 8, where we asked you to describe your premises in writing, and then also in question 9 for your estimated outdoor capacity, you say 0.
Oh, because I would have had to prepay for that for only a few months. I was going to let it go till the next license year.
No, I hear you on all that. What I'm suggesting is, it sounds like you definitely tonight want to, what we would call, amend your application here during the meeting on the record.
Yes.
For question 8 for your licensed premise.
Okay.
We can borrow the language on the current license, which reads, quote, outdoor fenced in seating area of 8 feet by 40 feet. So you'd want to for sure add that, correct?
Yes.
And then, so you don't have to come back between now and when the Sidewalk Cafe licensing year begins on April 15th. We could further amend tonight and add the phrase sidewalk cafe to question number 8, so you don't have to worry about
okay.
that for that
I
approval.
appreciate that.
But
Looking
so
at
with
that.
all that said, could you then guesstimate, at least for the sidewalk cafe, how many seats you think you'd be able to legally have there? So we can add a number for question 9 for outdoor capacity.
Are you saying that just with the new license or total with the next door license?
Just the new one.
Yeah, so this has nothing to do with Wando's at 602 University Avenue. This would only be a sidewalk cafe for whatever, again, you call your new.
Oh, well, actually, last year I actually got the permission from Lynn to have 2 tables in front of the red shed. So that's the only space I'm actually permitted currently, if I wanted to, but out of respect for her business, I took those 2 tables in front of her bar. So, but if yeah, it'd be nice to have 2 more tables out front in a fenced-in area in front of the new location.
So would that be a total of 8 seats, do you think, Jay, or how many seats?
I like to put 6 chairs at each table.
Okay.
So 12.
Okay, so just to rehash, then confirm here, I should say, we would be amending question number 8, the license premise, to include the language from the current Red Shed license, outdoor fenced-in seating area of 8 by 40 feet, and a sidewalk cafe. And then in question 9, your capacity would be 80 indoors and 12 outdoors.
Oh, okay. Yes. I'm sorry.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then the current conditions on the license are that whenever the outdoor patio is utilized, an employee will supervise the area. And then the second and last condition is the standard one that you've had on your license for many years now, where no patrons are permitted to enter or re-enter the establishment after 1:30 a.m. on Friday and Saturday nights. So just so you're aware, and I presume you have no objection to the continuing the 2 current conditions on the Red Shed's license.
Are all licenses in my area, are they under the same currently?
Well, you know the history as well as I do. We know that our friends at KK and Mondays objected, and our good friend, Assistant City Attorney Steve Briss, said we couldn't force it on them at the time. So they don't have it on their license, but all your immediate neighbors certainly do, including.
No, well, I know. I don't think Vintage falls under that either. But
Oh yes, I think you're right. The Central Police District at the time might have an advantage. I'd have to look that.
I'd be willing to once it's on your license, then it's there, and that's one thing I don't think we understood back when we agreed to it. I did it for I think the first 2 years voluntarily, just to help the police department with all the stuff that was going on University Avenue on the 600 block. But since the food carts got removed from our area, there's been not a lot of issues on the 600 block. So I prefer not to have it on my license the first year, but I can relook at it next year. But I'm all about helping the police out. But as you can talk to Captain Hansen, it's been a totally different last 2 years with the food carts gone.
Well, thank you for that. And so I did just pull up Vintage's current license, and indeed they have the standard Central Police District condition on their license as well, believe it or not. And since we haven't had Captain Hansen speak yet tonight, except for perhaps the beginning of the meeting, although we know we don't even do roll call for non-voting members, so you didn't even get to say here. So, Captain, do you wish to share your thoughts on this application, and then specifically, I know you inherited this condition when you became the commander of the Central Police District earlier this year, but this is a condition that was added when Captain Friedman and the Central CPT's request at the time. So if you could share your thoughts on that condition perhaps as well, and if you think it's working as necessary.
Am I on? Am I?
Yeah.
I'm on.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. All right, great. Yeah,
These are always on.
Yeah, I've had conversations with Jay and other business owners downtown regarding not only bar time issues, but this specific issue along with Captain Friedman. I still support it. It was put in place for a reason. It's kept quote unquote peace at the time down there, and it still continues to, as Jay indicated. We definitely don't have the same issues that we did 3 and 4 years ago. And with me being new, I guess new to the district, I want to stay status quo. While I assess things, we're still assessing how the summer is going in comparison to other summers. So my next thing to assess is this fall when students return. We had them graduate, now we have them return in September. So I'd prefer to keep things status quo.
Thank you. And so, Captain, you have no objection to the application being granted otherwise, but so you're saying you support, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you support the license being granted, but with continuing the current red shed conditions?
Correct.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Bruchak.
This question's for Captain Hansen or anyone else who might know, but just help me understand why this restriction on entering or re-entering after 1:30. Why does that affect whether there's peace or not downtown close to bar time?
Well, we're dealing with a couple issues around that time frame. One, lines that are still trying to get into bars. That's number one. Number two, once you leave an establishment, if there are lines or if there are, if it's crowded, it's going to take a while for you to get back in. And there's several things at play. One, that means you're not drinking alcohol during that time because you're in line, you're outside, you're not drinking alcohol. You're not causing trouble in those lines as you're trying to get back in. And there was a third reason from Captain Friedman. I'm sure Alder Revere can remember, but it escapes me now, but it had to do with the staggering of one thing that we talked about in the police department was, would bar owners be willing to stagger release times so that there wasn't an influx of patrons from the bars all leaving at the same time, crowding the streets. And another theory behind this was, if you can't come back in, maybe you are going now to a restaurant, or home, and it's less crowding on the street at bar time.
I remember two additional factors when we first put these into place. One was a population of people, and I don't know if this is happening anymore, who were going down like at 1:32, like going out then to the bars, and a lot of them weren't even going inside. They would hang around outside, but sometimes have trouble that they were causing outside and then bring it inside. And the other was sometimes there were people who were told they were going to no longer be served at a bar because they'd had enough. They would leave and then immediately go to another bar that wasn't aware of what they'd been doing all night and might not be able to tell immediately that they were already quite intoxicated. Does that sound right to you, Captain Hansen?
Yep, that's all part of the equation.
Anything else?
That's the end of my questions. Are we in discussion now, or are there more questions?
Are there any other registrants for this item?
Double check. I don't think so, but
While he's doing that, are there any other questions for the applicant? Okay, Jay, go for it. Start discussing.
Well, I appreciate the comments about this restriction. I tend to be a little bit more laissez-faire about some of these issues. Try to give the operators the benefit of the doubt. Let them do more what they want. But this seems relatively reasonable. Well, it's reasonable, but it's also not a tremendous burden. So I'm going to support the motion to grant with the condition against re-entry and entry after 1:30.
Cool. Any further discussion or a motion would be in order?
I'll move that.
Oh, excellent. So is that a motion to grant with the current conditions from the Red Sheds license?
Yes.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
And then
Second
from Alder Verveer.
And is everything worked out with the premise?
Alder Verveer, could you please check with Mr. Verbeek right now and make sure that he's got everything that you and Jay were talking about noted down?
I know you wanted to add the outdoor stuff. Was it adding outdoor patio and sidewalk cafe to what was listed for the premises?
Yes, what I was suggesting, Jim, earlier in the colloquy with the applicant is we could simply borrow the existing language and have this description.
And the number was 12 for outdoor.
Outdoor fenced in seating area of 8 feet by 40 feet. And then also add the phrase sidewalk cafe.
Gotcha.
So, and sidewalk cafe. And then you would add then please, including in Legistar for this item, for the council meeting, that for question 9 capacity, that it would be indoor 80 and outdoor 12.
Yep. Okay.
Excellent.
And then I don't think we don't need to repeat the conditions again. It's quite clear the motion is. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion of the motion?
Is Jay seeking recognition again, or was his hand raised this entire time? I just noticed it.
Yeah, go for it, Jay.
Jay, did you wish to add anything?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes. You're unmuted.
Well, Mike, you know what I do on the weekends, and so does Captain Hansen, but just to let the other board members understand, I've been at the front door for the entire time on weekends that I've owned the bar. So the reason why Captain Friedman did the no entry was because of those 3 years where university was, it was interesting to say the least. You know, a lot of juveniles who were just hanging out on the sidewalk. So if there was a bad crowd that came from, a club or whatever, one thing that you guys got to know what I do, I'm one of the guys that will put safety in front of profit. If I feel that my staff or my patrons are in danger, there has been times in the summer, I shut it down at midnight. I'm like, we're done. Okay. So just have what, how I run my bar and how I operate. So yes, if you want that as a condition, but, and I tell my staff, if there's a rare occasion where I am not there, always put safety in front of profit. And, and that's where it's always been my motto. So just want to put that in and Mike and Captain know how I operate. So I just wanted to put that in there. So no, I have no objection to putting that in.
Thank you.
Can I, and I can attest to that from years of working downtown previous to this assignment, and then just the officer's report. He is one of the most safety conscious bar owners that we have downtown and well connected to the police. So.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, Captain Hansen. Any further discussion of Mr. Burshak's motion? Hearing none, is there any dissent? Hearing none, item 30 is granted with conditions. Congratulations, Jay, and thanks for joining us. All right, next up, item 31, new license. It's a new license for Applebee's at 4710 Easttown. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes, Colin Pluta is registered and in Zoom.
All right, Colin, can you please introduce yourself and tell us what you're proposing?
Hi, everyone. I'm Colin. I'm the area director for the Applebee's over on East Madison. Our franchise is getting bought out, and so technically there's going to be a new license due to the new ownership. Nothing's changing, and that's pretty much it.
All righty, committee, what questions do you have? Colin, are you an officer of Applebee's?
An officer? What do you mean exactly by that?
So we need to speak to someone who is either an officer of the corporation that owns the establishment or someone who is the licensed agent of the establishment.
No, not that I'm aware of. I'm just an area director. The agent, Casimir, is currently on a plane right now, and so that's why I'm at this meeting.
Gotcha. Assistant City Attorney Brist or McReynolds?
Well, it seems that we normally have had reasonable requirements that the person be in control of the business. The only thing I can think of is that if there's some way we can either postpone this or let them come to us before the council acts and attest to something. But I don't know. I don't know who we ask questions of today other than the employee, which isn't our practice.
So it is important that we have someone who's capable of making decisions on behalf of the establishment if we have questions about how it will be run, and or if we have conditions that we want to make sure they understand and will abide by. What is the situation if we don't have, hypothetically, if we did not have any such conditions or questions?
Well, I suppose you could assume that because it's an Applebee's that you have some kind of idea of how the business is going to be run. I don't know if that's what you're looking at.
Not exactly. It's so, sometimes we have items that are on the consent agenda. We don't even know whether there's an applicant here at the meeting.
Control.
And the specific thing that we need is if we have questions that we can trust the answers, or if we have requests that we can trust that they'll be able to abide by them.
Well, then I guess the question is going to be, do we have anything that we want them to abide by? Or do we have questions that we need to have answered in this situation?
Mr. Verbeek, are there any conditions on the current license?
Let me check.
And while he's doing that, committee, are there any questions that you have for the applicant? Okay. Mr. Burchak?
Question for the applicant. Can you describe your role in the business? What level of responsibility and control over the business you have?
Yes, so I'm in charge of the general manager of the restaurant. So I'm in charge of and in communication with every daily operational procedure that goes on in that building.
So did you say the general manager reports to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We have an answer from Mr. Verbeek. There are no conditions on the current license. So, committee, what is your pleasure? Mr. Bruchak.
I feel, based on the simplicity of this, the question before us, the level of the registrant's role in the business, as he just quoted, I would feel comfortable making a recommendation to approve to the Common Council, and I think that if we want to put something in that some way to
make the motion you want to make. If there's something you don't support, leave it out.
I'll make a motion to approve, but I'm open to hearing further discussion.
Just a second from Ms. Westra. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Before we close this, I would like to remind everyone that outside of times when we are having revocation hearings, we are not a quasi-judicial body, and so our remarks, while we work our way toward a decision, don't establish precedent, although the decisions themselves might. So, hearing no dissent, motion carries, and the license is granted.
Appreciate it.
Cool. Have a good night, Colin.
You too, you guys.
Okay. Next up is item 32, new license for Mercy's Coffee at 1748 Egan. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes, Mallory Orr is here.
Excellent. Mallory, can you please introduce yourself and tell us what you're proposing?
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Hi, my name is Mallory Orr. I'm the owner of Mercy's Coffee. We've been in business for just over a year and a half now. We're right across from Easttown Mall. And the idea is to simply serve beer and wine and mimosas on the weekends, in the mornings. We also serve a variety of coffee beverages as well as breakfast, lunch, smoothies, and other items. It's really just to kind of broaden our scope and offer more options to a larger group of people and provide a nice loungy type space for the community, past 5 p.m.
Excellent. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? All right. Mr. Verbeek, do we have any other registrants for this item?
Yes, the agent, Allison Barry Weber, is also registered in Zoom.
All right, Allison, you feel no obligation to do so, but is there anything you would like to add? I will take the silence to mean she has nothing to add. Are there any further registrants?
There are not.
Committee, what's your pleasure?
Move approval.
Your motion to approve from Ms. Westra. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alder Verveer. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Item 32 is granted. Congratulations, Mallory, and have a good night. Next up, item 33, report of Madison Police Department. Captain Hansen, is there anything to which you would like to draw the committee's attention?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No major disturbances or issues in bars. We continue to see large crowds outside of bars. One thing that the officers have noted is the prevalence of wands. And I can't remember if I mentioned that in June. That would be the screening wands that the bouncers use to enter. And that is in the officers at work late at night. That has contributed to a significant decrease in various issues, particularly weapons issues, in the bars. So that's a very good thing. And that's the major thing I wanted to note tonight.
Excellent. Committee, what questions do you have for our representative from MPD? Thank you, Captain Hansen. Item 34, report of clerk. Mr. Verbeek, what would you like to call our attention tonight?
I'll just say that we currently have 5 regular licenses available. I think when I was here last month, I said we would have between 8 or 9. We ended up having 12, and that was because I wasn't counting the 3 regular licenses that we got from the town of Madison. And so my denominator was thrown off by still including those 3 in the numerator. And so I realize now that we have 3 additional ones. So we had quite a number taken, 7 taken since the beginning of the month. And so we currently sit at 5 for that. You'll also note that I included this month our list of currently expired licenses in which there either is an outstanding balance on the license or there is a delinquent personal property tax hold. I think all the distributor holds have been removed at this point. I think I take that back. There is one that has a hold, but I think that one is a situation in which that license is now held by a new operator. I think the mobile gas station on the east side, I think, is in different ownership, and I think we've already granted a new license at that location. Oh, yeah. But if anyone has any questions, I'm glad to take them.
Ms. Westra.
I was just going to say thank you for including this.
I know you usually ask. I was just being trying to get ahead of it this time.
I like it too. Alder Verveer.
Thank you. Yes, on the attachment of the licenses that are no longer valid, Jim, was that list shared with MPD, as has traditionally been the case in prior years, on or about June 30th, July 1st?
Yeah, I know for sure I shared it on the 30th. I may have shared it the day before as well. And I've shared updated copies in the weeks after as well. And I've gotten some questions and I've answered them from some of the police districts. I know Assistant City Attorney Zilvey has also been very up in asking the district, the various districts about case numbers in their visits in some of these locations that had been serving after without a valid license. I'm not quite sure what will result of that, but yeah, they've been kept abreast of all the updates and they've kept me aware of as well.
Thank you. So you're quite confident that the list that's in our packets, which is dated the 13th of July, is still fairly accurate today?
Yeah, I ran it
because there are certainly businesses on here that I see open in this new licensing year. I can't verify that they're serving alcohol, but they're certainly open, which they're allowed to do.
Yep. I ran it about 10-15 minutes. Actually, I ran it at 7:45 and 27 seconds, and the list is still accurate.
And then, Chair, could I ask Captain Hansen? Captain, do you have any knowledge of at least the ones on the first page, which, as you see here, all the as is traditionally the case, they're divided up by MPD districts. So you see on the first page there are several in your district, Captain. can you stay, and you know, the last one we know was out of business, but they wanted to preserve their right to find a new location. So I know that Paisan's renewed, but I don't know if they're ever going to find a new location. Suki's was obviously just before us, but the other ones, Central, for example, have your CPT team or others gone to these establishments yet to confirm that they're not serving alcohol?
They had the list, and I know they were making an effort to go to them, but I could not comment on every single one of them. I could get you that answer. Today's Wednesday. They are back. Well, they're actually here tonight. I can stop in and talk to them before I leave tonight.
Well, that would be great on your way home.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then in terms of the East and Midtown districts, which are the only other ones on the 14 on the current list, can you confirm
I'll do the same with those captains.
Gary and Friedman are also aware that there's still active invalid licenses out?
I will check with them and get back to you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Captain.
I will add that in the East, the Staybridge Suites is, that's an old license, and the new owners, I believe, just got their new license today. So that one was just resolved today, but that's for the new owner, not that current license listed on this report.
And you said, Jim, that the same is true of that mobile gas station with the Frank Beer delinquency hold?
Yes, that's the
and the unpaid
Gruwall. I think it's Gruwall 11 LLC is now the owner of that one at that location.
And
so that has been issued, and they paid their fees.
Yes, they got a provisional license because I think it was just granted last week at the Common Council.
And I know for the East Side that Growlers to Go-Go and Pedro's have both gone out of business.
Okay. Then I guess Jamar's off the hook, Captain.
All right. Any further questions for Mr. Verbeek? All right. Moving on. Item 35, Assistant City Attorney Brist. Would you join us, please? So, Assistant City Attorney Brist has served as the ALRC's counsel for more than 2.5 years now, as well as sitting in regularly prior to that when we needed assistance. So I asked Mr. Verbeek to add an item to our agenda so we can formally recognize him for his service. Would anyone be interested in making a motion to that effect? Alder Verveer.
Well, thank you very much, Chair. When we actually get to the adjournment motion, I would like to move that we adjourn in honor of the public service of Assistant City Attorney Brist. But if I could just say a few words now, Steve, obviously you and I go way, 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 way back. And I can't tell you how much I've appreciated our friendship and working relationship all these decades, both in this venue at the ALRC, where as you know, you've done different tours of duty, before Roger Allen, after Roger Allen, but then also, just speaking from my personal experience working with you, all of the ordinance amendments that we've worked together that you've drafted for me, all of the service as the longtime ethics board counsel, as myself being a longtime ethics board member. I'm going to miss you very much. I really am. For those that don't know, Steve's public service extends earlier than his service in the city county building. I hope I'm not embarrassing you or any Steve, but Steve was actually a member of the Wisconsin State Assembly before he joined the city of Madison's ranks as a public servant. So Steve's public service goes way, way back. I think your whole career has been public service as far as I know, Steve. So I again, I personally am going to miss you very much, and can't thank you enough for all of the service you've given our community and its residents, and for many of us personally, and of course your tenure over many years off and on as counsel to this committee. We've been blessed to have you, and really spoiled to have two assistant city attorneys in most all of our meetings, with between the role of counsel that you played and then the prosecutor role that's been played. That's been the position that Assistant City Attorney Jennifer Zillaby has obviously held for decades. So thank you. You very much will be missed, and enjoy your well-deserved retirement.
Well, thank you very much, Alder Verveer, and thank you, Chair, as well, for asking this be put on the agenda. I've enjoyed serving as the advisor to the ALRC. It's been challenging sometimes, but it's something that I really enjoy doing, and I appreciate the kind comments of the committee.
I'll also mention, Amber, you have big shoes to fill, as you well know. So,
size 9.
Welcome aboard, Amber.
Nice.
Oh, only size 9. Well, figuratively, they're a lot bigger than 9s.
Don't scare her away, Mike.
I think Amber's well qualified to. It's gonna take her some time to learn the intricacies of the alcohol beverage law, because there are so many quirks in it in Wisconsin, and the legislature may change it in the next month or two as well. But she has the intellectual capability to deal with the changes that are deal with the intricacies of this law, and also the personality to get along with the committee.
Yes, I'll vouch for that. Amber has a great personality, just like you do, Steve. So we're very lucky in that regard, to be sure, and of course intellectually. I will say too that maybe your retirement was timed, knowing that the Chapter 125 wholesale were finally moving through the legislature, that where they've been bogged down for years now with the various members of the 3-tier industries fighting with one another. But anyway, welcome aboard, Amber, as well.
Thank you.
And I don't think we're hard to get along with, Mike.
Oh, I don't either. But sometimes our meetings can be very long. I will say that.
But I'm the chair now.
Zoom is a nice option for our assistant city attorneys, where they can stay home if they need to and wish to.
So we do have this as an item on our agenda, and I believe we have to do something with it. So do I hear a motion?
I think.
Well, I'll be duplicative and formally move that we honor and thank Assistant City Attorney Brist for his service to the ALRC. And then I'd like to make another motion after we dispose of that one.
Do I hear a second to Alder Verveer's motion? Second from Ms. Westra. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. It's an honor. Oh my goodness.
Oh, we're really embarrassing Steve now. Well, I could talk about
this picture.
Oh, if we're going to talk about him being a train aficionado and a brother in the Sons of the Union Veterans of the Civil War, we can go there too.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. I had no idea you were in the Civil War.
That's a steam engine that I'm next to that used to be working at Mid-Continent in North Freedom. I fired that engine too.
Nice.
And you have wonderful mementos in your office. I've always enjoyed visiting you. Just to see, you know right away that you're a railroader, Steve, when you walk into your office. That's for sure. Thank you, Jim, for embarrassing Steve.
No problem.
Excellent. Okay, so for item 35, Alder Verveer's motion carries. Alder Verveer, would you like to make the motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn in honor of the public service of Steve Brist, and in particular his service to the ALRC.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Westra. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed to have the same privilege. Motion carries. ALRC is adjourned at 8:03 p.m.
Thank you.
Best wishes, Steve. Godspeed.
Thank you.
CPT is working, isn't it?